Hey everyone, this is Kathir. I would like to share Agile Scrum Cheat Sheet, which will help you refer in your Agile Scrum implementation in your product development. Please keep in note in your library, so whenever you need, you can simply refer and enhance your Agile Scrum implementation. Agile Scrum, Ken Schwaber and Jeff Sutherland are described in Scrum Guide as follows. Scrum, a framework within which people can address complex adaptive problems while productively and creatively delivering the products of the highest possible value. It is lightweight and simple to understand and difficult to master. Scrum has been used to develop software, hardware, embedded software, networking of interacting functions, autonomous vehicles, schools, government, and marketing and managing the operations of the organization. Scrum is immutable, cannot be modified by organization flexibility. If modified, we lose real benefits of the Scrum. It should be adhered how described in Scrum Guide. The three main pillars are transparency, inspection, adaptation. Then Scrum values are commitment, courage, focus, openness, and respect. The Scrum teams are product owner, one person, responsible creating a product backlog items to maximize their possible value. Product backlog is visible, clear to all, and shows what the Scrum team will work on next. Backlog refinement grooming can be done with the help of the developers. No more than 10% of the capacity of the development team used. Then Scrum Master, one person, is responsible for promoting and supporting Scrum as defined in the Scrum Guide. Then development team. They can be 3 to 9 people, self-organized team who creates working deliverable, collaboratively responsible, no sub-team. Scrum events are the sprint. The art of the Scrum is a sprint, a time box of 1 month or less, during which a done, usable, and potentially releasable product. Sprint contain and consists of the sprint planning, daily Scrum, the development work, the sprint review, and the sprint retrospective. The next sprint planning, the work to be performed in the sprint is planned at the sprint planning. Sprint planning answers the following: what can be delivered in the increment resulting from the upcoming sprint? The next, how will the work needed to deliver the increment to be achieved? The product backlog items selected for this sprint plus the plan for the delivering them is called the sprint backlog. So the participants in the sprint planning, Scrum team, stakeholders, SMEs, and duration maximum 8 hours for the 1 month sprint. The next one, daily Scrum. The daily Scrum is a 15 minutes time boxed event for the development team. Developers ask us 3 questions in the event. What did I do yesterday that helped the development team meet the sprint goal? Then, what will I do today to help the development team meet the sprint goal? Do I see any impediment that prevent me or the development team from the meeting the sprint goal? So team plans work for the next 24 hours in the daily Scrum. The participants, developers only. Scrum Master ensures that the development team has the meeting, cannot be moderator. The development team or team member often meet immediately after the daily Scrum for detailed discussions. or to adapt or replan the rest of the sprint work. The next one, sprint review. A sprint review is held at the end of the sprint to inspect the increment and adapt the product backlog if needed. The presentation of the increment is intended to elicit feedback and foster collaboration. Participants, Scrum team and stakeholders. So duration can be maximum 4 hours for the 1 month sprint. For a shorter sprint can be less. The next one is sprint retrospective. In this event, inspect how the last sprint went with regards to people, relationship, process and tools. Identify and order the major items that went well and potential improvements, and create a plan for implementing improvements to the way the Scrum team does it works. Participant Scrum team, the duration 3 hours maximum. The next, Scrum artifacts. The product backlog is an ordered list of everything that is known to be needed in the product. It is the single source of the requirements for any changes to be made to the product. So, responsible for the product backlog, product owner. Next, the sprint backlog. The sprint backlog is the set of the product backlog items selected for the sprint, plus a plan for delivering the product increment and realizing the sprint goal. Development team responsible for sprint backlog. Increment. The increment is the sum of all the product backlog items completed during a sprint and the value of the increments of the all previous sprints. At the end of the sprint, the new increment must be done, which means it must be in usable condition and meet the Scrum team definition of done. End note. Scrum roles, events, artifacts and rules are immutable, and although implementing only parts of the Scrum is possible, the result is not Scrum. Scrum exists only in its entirety and functions well as a container for other techniques, methodologies and practices. You can learn more about the Agile Scrum. Please find below link where you can download Agile Scrum guide, from which you can improve your Agile Scrum knowledge and you can implement in your product development. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next video.